All right, shalom, shalom, the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. We're going to start off this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Bahashem,
Yahushai,
Double honor to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us this word in truth and sincerity, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, starting with 144,000. All right, that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. And to the rest of you that sincerely believe as well, peace and mercy to you and your household. So in today's class is going to be another edition of Doomsday Prophecies. And instead of getting a current event, although this is going to get into a current event, we're going to go back into a little bit of history to further clarify prophecy concerning, as the title says, the whoredom of the woman with the beast and her destruction. And there's many different ways that America, being that woman on the beast, in Revelation 17, there's many different ways that America has committed fornication with the nations of the earth. But one of the major ways outside of philosophy is financial, right? The financial whoredom, or what's it called, fornication. All right, that America is committed with the beast, which is the NATO and the EU and all these other nations. So before we get into it, no, Malak, you always have a precept. Go ahead and bring that out.
Khan. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the book of Revelation, the 14th chapter, the 10th verse and the 11th verse, and the point of the title going into worship and whoredoms of this that particular system, the beast system. So this is Revelation 14 and 10. It says, "The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of our power, Yehovah Shem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire, brimstone, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." So I just wanted to preface that precept. The main point coming in regards to worship, the results of false worship, is not going back to that whoredom, right? And also, as young elder mentioned, in regards to the financial system, right? So you have to worship that system. You have to be a part of it if you want to survive. That's what they're pushing here. But the Lord says destruction is coming to that system. Okay. So here's the point now, verse 11.
Because I can say real quick that the whoredom, or the fornication, the financial, I'll say it like that, the financial fornication is very, very important, because ultimately that's going to lead to the MOTB, right? That financial system. And that's like the major prophecy before the destruction of of America. Okay, so it's a very important aspect concerning prophecy.
Beautiful. All right, verse 11, here's the point. "And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever," right? That's what awaits this system. "And they have no rest day or night, who worship," here's the point, "who worship the beast." So yes, in that financial system, they're going to force a lot of people to try to go that way and use their financial system to burden you, right? It's a tool that is used, but the key word there is worship and his image. All right. Again, it says image there because I have to bring it out. The beast has an image, which goes into its philosophies. Right. There's a list of it. Okay. What they stand for. All right. Yeah, I'll just read it off. It's the democracy, the religion, the idolatry, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, and murder. That's what this system stands for. Okay. That's why it's going to be destroyed, the scripture says, right? Because they force you in regards to worship, right? And it says, "Whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." Right? Simply put, I'll leave it at that. So yes, worship, whoredom. False worship. False worship. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So I'm gonna get this here, Revelation 17, just to preface, the video that I have queued up before I play it.
Beautiful.
So Revelation, I'll just jump around a little bit in this chapter. So Revelation 17 and 1, I'm gonna read to 2, and it says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right, being America, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And through the financial aspect, right, with the fornication, these nations have most definitely been made drunk. Because when you go into the aspect of printing money, that's what they've been made drunk with. Printing money that has no backing, which gets into the debt aspect. Hence why America is in so much debt, Canada is in so much debt, and really the nations of the world, they're all in complete debt. So let me get this word fornication. Porneo, right? We know it. Porneo in the Greek.
Strong's G 4203. Parnuo. Parnuo.
And I'm going to go straight to the etymology. Where's this etymology? Oh, right there. So the etymology is porne, right? And I'm going to get the second definition. It says any woman indulging in unlawful sexual intercourse, right? We know that. But this aspect is what I'm focusing on. Oh, and you know what? This is actually better. A prostitute, a harlot, one who yields, this is what I want to focus on. One who yields herself to defilement for the sake of gain. And that's what these nations have basically done with America. They've yielded themselves through what? Their government, which is in cahoots with the world leaders, the international bankers. They all work together to bring about ultimately the NWO. Right? So going back here, I'll jump down to let's jump down. I'll read verse 2 again. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Skipping down, go and read verse 8, and it reads, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, right? Which is Europe. When you go into Revelation, the 20th chapter, that bottomless pit is Europe for the lack of its resources. Hence why they came over here to what they deemed the New World, which is the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, right? And it says, and to go into perdition, right? Which is destruction. So the beast that thou sawest was, which is the Roman Empire, and is not, right? And basically it fell, and then basically Jake started ruling over Rome. They call that, Esau calls it the medieval age, or the so-called dark ages, right? And it says, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So they came back into power, these Edomites, right? Around 1450, 1500s, right? And go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And that beast that yet is now, again, is America. So we'll skip down here to 12. just going to read down. It says, verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, right? And shall give their power and strength onto the beast. And you're going to see that's what they did as I cue up the video financially, but they did it not just financially, but in all the other aspects that Malak was reading, democracy, education, medicine. Verse 14, it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, Yahushai, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful, the elect. And he said, saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitude and nations and tongues. Right, and every nation carries a fiat dollar, all right, a form of currency with that's according to whatever country they're living in. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked. Right, that's World War III, via thermonuclear fire, the missiles, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, has put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall be fulfilled. They did it again through the dollar, and they're going to do it again through the MOTB system, right? Microchip. So it says, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Okay.
Just to solidify, what you just read, it always states that in Obadiah 1 and 7, Salakia, where it speaks of those that were confederate with thee. You remember it out?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay,
go ahead.
So this is Obadiah 1 and 7. It reads, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee unto the border, even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So even though this video has been done each and every night, different brother channels speaking of what is to come, this man sees this as mere foolishness, right? There's no understanding in him.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. So real quick before I play anything, this is fair use. None of the channels on this panel own any ownership rights to this video, and we're not making any money from this video. It's just being used for educational purposes only. So it's fair use. But I'm sure I know a lot of you brothers have watched these series by Mike Maloney on the hidden secrets of money. Those of you at home, go watch these series. It's a really good series, and gives you a lot of insight in prophecy in the scriptures and this devil, man, in terms of his fornication via finance. So, yeah, fair use. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And brothers, just let me know when to pause it. And you got precepts.
Keep the 7 stages of empire in mind, and as you watch this, see if you can recognize the signs. Everybody thinks the US dollar is still as good as gold, and it hasn't been since 1971. This is the world monetary systems. From 1873, when Germany went on the classical gold standard, where each unit of currency is backed up by an equivalent amount of gold in the treasury. In the United States, $20 bill, $20 gold piece in the vaults. Go into any bank, slap down your currency, which was a receipt for money, a claim check on money, ask for your money, gold and silver, and they would give it to you. So this shows, this is currency, this is money. Otherwise, there was no reason for any government to store gold in their vaults and then print this currency that was backed by gold. This is what gives confidence in that. And it gives government the ability to start this scam in the first place, where they print these receipts for gold, and then they can print more of them than gold that exists. And that happened when we got to World War I, and all the combatants stopped redemption rights. You could no longer go in the bank and trade your pounds, lira, marks, francs, no longer redeemable in gold. And they lit up the printing presses and started printing like crazy. Then between the wars, they went on something called the gold exchange standard, where currencies...
And keep that in mind. They started printing like crazy without the gold to back it. Therein lies the fornication, right? Because, let me get this real quick. What does the Lord say about unjust weights?
And usury, yeah.
Yeah. Is that Proverbs 21? Yeah, I think it's Proverbs 21. No, Proverbs 11. So Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11:1, and it reads, Proverbs 11:1, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. So by having currency and having gold to back up that currency, but then printing more currency than there is gold, that's a false balance. Okay. And this is what America basically taught the other nations to do. All the other nations that now have fiat currencies followed in the same footsteps of they call it quantitative easing, which is just a fancy word for printing more money. That's it.
Would be backed partially by gold. So in the United States, under the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, the Federal Reserve was allowed to put $50 worth of claim checks on gold, currency in circulation, backed up by only $20 worth of gold. So it was a 40% reserve ratio. For every $20 gold piece in the vault, they could put $50 in circulation.
We're the dollar domination of trade. We're the biggest batch of dollars ever made. Gold we used to match by millions, but now we match by billions, and maybe we'll get trillions for your day.
Then we get to 1944. Now, during both wars, Europe paid the U.S. with gold. During World War I, the U.S. didn't get into the war until the very end of it. We didn't really have troops on the ground here in any quantity until the last 6 months of the war. So for the first 4 years or so, we're selling you, you take all of your young men off of the farms and turn them into soldiers. You take your factories that make toasters and they start making machine guns. Your factories that made cars are now building tanks. And so you turn your economy toward war, and all of your consumer goods and your grains had to be imported from the United States, and you paid us with gold. Then in World War II, Hitler starts saber rattling in 1936, annexes Austria in 38, invades Poland in 39. Pearl Harbor wasn't until the end of 1941. We didn't have troops on the ground until, I believe, August of 42. So again, there's like 6 years where you're paying us with your gold and we're selling you stuff. This is where Americans have this myth that war is good for the economy.
And this is why when you read Revelation 18, those of you at home, when you read about how these nations are going to cry, and well, these nations are going to be upset and mourning about America being destroyed because of how much, when you reverse it, America is a huge consuming based country. What they're good at in terms of exporting is weapons. No other country has weapons like America. That's why they make that's why this guy's breaking it down. While the war was going down, America was funding the weapons but receiving the gold. Right? So now these nations, when you flip it, they're not going to be able to enjoy the wealth that they've made from America in terms of it consuming all of their products, the products for especially from China and other various parts of the earth.
Economy. War is good for the economy if you're not in it and you're selling them the tools of the trade.
So can somebody say so?
No.
Okay.
Yes, America's national income gets bigger and bigger. In 1943, it was $142 billion. That was double the 1939 figure, triple the figure for 1933.
But by the end of World War II, the U.S. had 2/3 of all the world's monetary gold, the central bank gold, and the rest of the world had to share the other third, and Europe had none. So the world monetary system was no longer going to work. It would collapse. But we had made all these loans of dollars to Europe. So Europe was flooded with dollars. And so representatives from around the world met at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire in 1944. They came up with a new world monetary system called the Bretton Woods system, where every currency on the planet, with the exception of just a few, they would be backed by the US dollar. And the US dollar would then be backed by gold at $35 per ounce. This gave confidence to all currencies. So this gave the world stability, and it pegged all the world's currencies to each other through the dollar to gold. So there was no such thing as the Forex. Currencies didn't float. The exchange rates were fixed year after year. And this helped to make world trade boom. Then the dollar standard starts because we kept on printing dollars. Under the Bretton Woods system, there was no reserve ratio established where the U.S. actually had to have a certain amount of gold for how many dollars we created. So we had done a bunch of deficit spending for Korea, for Vietnam, for Johnson's Great Society, and expanded the currency supply, the amount of paper dollars in circulation, and exported them all over the world. And then in the 60s, Charles de Gaulle, president of France, realizes that we don't have the gold to back up the dollars.
Right. So you get a little bit of insight of how.
And that's witchcraft. That's witchcraft because they're pretty much making nothing, something out of nothing.
Right.
That's like ancient alchemy where they try to take iron or some copper and they try to make it into gold.
I got you, brother. I got you.
I just want to bring something out.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned one thing about consumerism, right?
Right.
And I typed in American consumerism, global influence, and this is what AI said. It says American style consumerism, with its focus on mass production, marketing, and consumption, has had a significant global impact, influencing cultures, economies, and political landscapes, while also raising concerns about sustainability and inequality. Right? So that's one way that
the feeling of finding
the fornication gets pushed, right? But there's something else called Americanization, right? You can look it up on Wikipedia. Americanization is the influence of the American culture and economy on other countries outside the United States, including their media, cuisine, business practices, popular culture, technology, and political techniques. And this is all part of what you're going into about the fornication. And I just want to bring out a quick scripture. This is Revelation 19:2. It says, "For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his saints at her hand." Right? So this bitch corrupted the whole earth, through the business practices, the way business is done, and we're not even getting into the, the underworld, the witchcraft, but yeah, that was it.
I got a quick precept to back you up.
Come.
Okay, this is Nahum chapter 3, verse 4. It says, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot,
that's right,
the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts." So same thing. This is high witchcraft, what they use to trick the nations,
right?
Trick them out and scam them basically, and get them their money. To get them back.
Yeah. Well, and basically to put America on top, because remember,
that's right.
Going back to that whore, she rides on the beast. So she's the top. She's riding on these nations. But this is one way, because when you have the guy, he said America had 2/3 of the world's gold reserve. Europe had none, and the rest of the other third of the gold, the rest of the world had to share it. That gives one country the monopoly on the rest of the whole world. So they can dictate whatever. And best believe the bankers and all the other government officials of these various countries working hand in hand together to bring this about. And they're going to do the same thing with the MOTB. Esau is not creative, man. He's just deceptive.
Hey, real quick, that same scripture in the NLT, right? It says, all this because Nineveh, the beautiful and faithless city, mistress of deadly charms, enticed the nations with her beauty, right? She taught them all her magic, enchanting people everywhere. So that's why we're going into about, there's also witchcraft at hand. There's things that these leaders learn, and then they start pushing it on their people when they go back to their country. Even just like we said, the business practices, they learn the scumminess of American companies, how they practice, and then they do that in their land.
Right. Yeah.
It's going into the Carnegies. Dale Carnegie is building different libraries throughout Europe. I think he built over 2,506 libraries on each continent to cause the mind fuck.
Right. Right. Yep. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this clip going into the history, showing you when the scriptures say nothing's new under the sun. Right? It was actually, if a brother can hold that precept, and then I'll play this. Okay, this goes to show you when you go back into Revelation 17 about let me pull it up here real quick. So Revelation 17. When carried away into the wilderness. Send the earth and wonder, and she made whistles. Okay. I think verse 5 kings, 5 received power. Slack, bear with me. I'm just looking for where is this? We're talking about the 5 kings again. What verse is that?
Oh,
Yeah.
a little above.
Oh, there you go. Verse 10. Yeah. So verse 10. So when you read verse 10 in Revelation 17, all right, and it says, and there are 5 kings, 5 are
7.
fallen. Slack it. 7. There are 7 kings.
No, 5 kings. The 10 is 5 kings.
No, but it says 7 here.
What we're reading?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said
ahead.
5. Yeah. Kind of. So it says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, right, and 1 is, and these kings represent rulerships of the Edomites. Right, they really represent empires of the Edomites. You start with the Greeks, going to the Romans, then you have Germania Major, Germania Minor, the Spanish, right, the British, and then you have the French. Then you get into America, as it says, and 1 is, right, and the other is not yet come. The one that is was the Roman Empire at that time. Okay, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. That is the British Empire. Okay, the British Empire. Now in this 11th verse it says, and the beast that was and is not, and is not, even he is the 8th. This is America. Daniel had the same kind of dream, talking about the 7th horn or the 8th horn that comes out of the 7th, right? And is of the 7th.
Yeah, the little horn.
The little horn, right? So the 8th, it says, even he is the 8th and is out of the 7, right? Which America came out of Britain. Hence, what war was that called? The War of Independence, right?
Yeah, the revolution, so-called American Revolution.
Right. And goeth into perdition. So when you read this and we go back to this clip, let's go back to how Esau was ruling financially during the time that they were calling themselves the Greeks.
Yeah.
Begs the question, what went wrong? The star shone bright.
Going back to
2,500 years later, and people are still in awe of their achievements. It was truly a fantastic period in human history, and the Athens star shone brightly for many years. So this begs the question, what went wrong? How did such a great and powerful civilization fall? The answer lies in the same pattern that we see throughout history: too much greed and too much war. It was when the Athenians got involved in the Peloponnesian Wars, a war with Sparta, that their monetary problems began. First, they lost access to their gold and silver mines. They were also paying armies that were on foot, and they were miles and miles away from Athens. So as they pay their armies to buy goods and services from the local populations, a deflation occurs in Athens because they're sending all of their coinage out of the city. Then they started debasing their coinage to pay for the war. If you take in 1,000 coins in taxes, and then you...
Which, as he's saying, there's a deflation happening in Athens because all their money is being sent out for war. It's the same thing with the currency. All the debt notes or currency that's been sent out to various countries, if all that came back, all those debt notes came back, as he broke down earlier, America would collapse that night, because more currency is going to come back than they have gold to give away, because each currency or debt note represents how much gold is in the vault. So France says, hey, we have 10 debt notes. That represents 10 ounces of gold, but you only have 2 ounces of gold left in your vault because you printed more than you had. Now that country doesn't have is out of 8 ounces of gold.
Yeah.
So just imagine that math on a bigger scale.
A precept.
Yeah, come go ahead.
The orator, the narrator, he said why. He's asking a question, so the Lord's going to answer him. So this is Sirach chapter 10, verse 8. It reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Beautiful.
There's your answer, narrator.
Started debasing their coinage to pay for the war. If you take in 1,000 coins in taxes, and then you melt those down, those gold coins, and you mix 50% copper into your gold, now you can mint 2,000 coins. So if you take in only 1,000 coins, but you spend 2,000 coins, what is that called? That is deficit spending. Athens began to do that during this war with Sparta. They also had these great public works, which were very expensive, and they finished the Temple of Aphrodite during the truce in the middle. There was a 6-year truce in the middle of this 27-year war. So they didn't stop their great public works and allow their market economy to heal from the expense of this war. As they debased their coinage, people would take the new debased coins at face value at first, until there were a whole bunch of those. And there's something called Gresham's Law, where people tend to save to keep the thing that's rare, and they spend the thing that's common into circulation first. So all of the gold and silver coins started to disappear from circulation and become quite rare, and it was just these copper coins. Suddenly, it took a whole bunch of copper coins to buy a gold or silver coin, one of those old gold or silver coins. This is the first time that gold or silver ever had a price. Before that, everything was measured in a weight of gold and silver. So a large factor in Athens' downfall was the expense of war, the expansion of empire, the debasement of their currency, the eventual inflation that was caused. You know, they minted these coins until they became nothing but flecks of copper. This was actually the world's first hyperinflation. And what it did was it financially debilitated.
So it's the world's first hyperinflation started with Esau. And it's going to end with Esau as well.
Devastated Athens to the point where in 404 BC, they surrendered to Sparta. And eventually they became nothing but a satellite of Rome.
Right. And they did the same thing with Rome. And they're doing the same thing with America.
Quick one. Quick
yeah,
precept.
go ahead.
Yeah, it was mentioned earlier on, and Brother Bunyamin brought up precept, and that 2 precepts came out before that, came out after that in regards to the greed. So I'm just going to go to the book of Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah 51:13, right? It says, O thou that dwellest among many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness, yeah? Right? Printing all this weird stuff, you know, all stuff that's not there, just pulling it from the sky and bringing that, you know, covetousness. Anyway, it goes into that, going into there. And verse 14, simply put, just like to read that, it says, the Lord of armies, right? Yehovah Hashem Yahushai, Lord, with men as caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Right?
Hey, Malak, where are you reading? Because you chipped out. So, okay, someone.
Oh, Salakia. Verse 14 of 51, just going into who's behind everything. Oh,
no, what chapter? What chapter?
Oh, Jeremiah 51. Yeah, 13 and 14.
Con.
Point was really made in the 13th verse in regards to the greed, right? And goes back to, simply put, their riches and treasures, yeah? Con. That's why they're abundant, it's because of their covetousness and wickedness.
That's right.
Right? It goes into that worship. That's the point. Go ahead, brother.
Con. I'll play a little bit more and then get another clip.
In the dollars. And at that point, other countries.
En vérité, on ne voit pas qu'il puisse y avoir réellement de critères, d'étalons autres que l'or.
And he starts asking, France asks for their gold, and trades in the dollars. And at that point, other countries saw this and start jumping on board. And the U.S. lost 50% of its gold from 1959 to 1971, but we still had in 71 about 12 times more dollars that we had created than there was gold. And this run on the bank, basically, the U.S. now being the bank, this is a giant world.
Salake, just give me 2 seconds here. I quickly just queue up this next clip. And this is off the same guy. He has a whole series. So those of you at home, go watch the whole series. It's good. And because we have the Holy Spirit and we know the scriptures, we have way more insight than these devils do concerning what's happening. Okay, so we'll continue on here.
In the poorest corners of the world, clean water is a lifeline that is out of reach.
Because the U.S. run on the bank, basically, 71, about 12 times more dollars that we had created than there was gold. And this run on the bank, basically, the U.S. now being the bank, this is a giant worldwide bank run. Because the U.S. for the second time had committed a fraud and created more receipts for gold than there was gold. It's that simple. Then finally the market sort of sensed this and was forced to take us off the gold standard, because if you had paid out gold until it got to zero, once we couldn't pay on some of those dollars, the entire worldwide monetary system would have collapsed.
I directed Secretary Connolly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States. In full cooperation with the International Monetary Fund and those who trade with us, we will press the necessary reforms to set up an urgently needed new international monetary system.
And on August 15th, 1971, all the world's currencies became fiat currency. I don't know why the rest of the world didn't rush out and hang him, but they didn't. They just all went along with this.
To our friends abroad, I give this assurance. The United States has always been and will continue to be a forward-looking and trustworthy trading partner.
There have been thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fiat currencies throughout history, and there isn't one that survived. It is a 100% failure rate. And we started this experiment where all the world's currencies would be fiat currencies simultaneously in 1971. But what we have here, 30 to 40 years, different monetary system, 30 years, 28 years, 39 years plus, what's next? The world is going to have a new monetary system in this decade that we're in. We're going to experience this huge deflationary crash around the world. The world will probably end up on some sort of new monetary system, probably after.
Yeah, which is the MOTB. That's what they're looking to do. Now, he wants to take it, he started it from mixing different metals with gold to make more gold, to printing fiat notes where you don't even have any gold. Now you're just going to make it imaginary. You're just going to put a device in you. That's it.
Everyone's trying.
Well, it's a credit-based system, right? So you people have been worshiping the beast and the image. So you've always been on credit, this whole credit tip. And once they took the gold standard, the dollar off the gold standard, like he said, he's like, I don't know why all these countries they didn't, he's like, they just went along with it. Yeah. Well, they went along with it because they were enchanted by the harlot.
That's right.
They were deceived by the whore. And you people have been living off, especially them credit cards, which is big usury. You people have been living on a credit-based system, believing in the system. So it's going to be simple for you to get that mark.
That's right.
I got a quick precept.
I have a precept.
I can bring it up real quick.
Yeah, get yours, and Mayan, you can go after him.
Okay.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 13. It says, there is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail. And he begotten a son, and there's nothing in his hand. I just had to bring that out because these men are running the world by evil richness, by deceit, witchcraft, money, and all these things go back to the root of all evil, man. That money, that you're gonna leave your soul for, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You finish, Onyema?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, this is Jeremiah 51, 7 and 8. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. And they have made the world drunken through what the elder Jeremiah spoke about earlier, which is, Americanization. Because when you go to these countries, Jamaica, when you go to 90% of the countries in the world, they're Americanized, right? That is pretty much Americanization. They want the entire world to be like them, right? And it says the nations have drunken of her wine, her philosophy, her religions, her monetary system, right? The nations are drunken off her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And now they're mad because the system is failing. The system is failing them, right? And it says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. So when you look at America right now, America is being destroyed from the inside out, right? Your monetary system, like everything in America is being destroyed from the inside out, and DJ Trump is actually at the forefront of that right now, right? Because howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. So a lot of people now, Americans, are actually crying, thinking that they can save America. But America cannot be saved. It's like America has been circling the drain for a long time, and it's at the bottom of that. The bottom.
Yeah, that's right. These people have been living on a borrowed time, man.
That's right.
It's been supposed to crash. That's why when we used to watch these guys like Gerald Celente, he's like, I don't know what he doesn't know what's going on, but it's really for the elect's sake and different prophecies. But these people, America has been living on borrowed time, man.
Con. Yeah, that's it on a precept.
They're on a drinking spree. You can't help it. Go ahead. So I could go ahead, brother.
Con.
Of all the currencies, and people will just lose confidence in currency. And what do they always go back to throughout history? Time after time, for the last 5,000 years, actually, they always go back to gold and silver. In a world of currencies,
because that's real money.
Exactly.
Currency is something that a government can make. They can print a bunch of things on a piece of paper and say this is money, but that's not money. That's witchcraft.
Right.
There's two different meanings between currency and money.
Yep. That's it. That's the spirit. Because he goes into it as well, and I'm not going to really play that part, but gold, you can't print gold, right? You only have as much as the earth gives you, so you can't be that wicked with it. And it's fungible, and it's also the store of value doesn't change. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
When you have debt notes that you determine what they represent, and there's nothing to back up that representation of that debt note, you can make it whatever you wanted to make it. Hence, you brought out credit, right? Which is a Latin going back to I believe or belief. So you believe whatever it is, whatever is in your credit card, $5,000, you believe is there. It's not actually there, but they got you, guised up into that witchcraft.
And they got them so bugged up into the witchcraft, even our own people, that it destroys their heart. It destroys them. It destroys them from, guess what the main thing what they did is destroy them from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yep.
It destroys them from even getting the knowledge to get to the truth, man. It destroys them. You cannot.
They make it a god.
Well, that's why it's witchcraft, because when you're looking at it, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of occult emblems and symbols staring at you, and you're stacking it. Taking a picture with the stack to your head, showing the stack. But them stacks though, you got Molech. You know what I'm saying? You got the pyramid with the all-seeing eye.
Yeah. That's right.
I have the word currency, but I'll just bring the meat because that's why I keep chuckling, because brothers are breaking it down in the spirit. It says the notion of state or fact of flowing from person to person led to the senses.
I typed in the difference between money and currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says money and currency are often used synonymously, but they are different. It says money is a medium of exchange with various functions and forms, which if you want to know what money is, you can get what is that, Genesis 12 or 13. Abraham was very rich in cattle and gold and land, right? Servants, that's all money.
That's right.
You know, you got a bunch of chickens in your backyard, that's money.
That's right.
It says, whereas currency refers to the physical or tangible form of money issued by a government or central authority for use as legal tender within a particular jurisdiction. And we always used to bring this out. Each note, it says in fine print, legal tender. Tender means soft, delicate, you know, very, very tender woman. You know, so, but it's legal tender. You know, so it's bound to break at any time because, you know, what you brought out in the video about 71, Nixon, no more gold.
That's right. Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
And Esau have us, you know, not looking into words, having people think legal and right carry the same weight.
It's just his word.
Good.
You know? Because I say so.
Good.
Yeah.
By the authority of whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the witchcraft, bro. You know?
I got a quick precept. Just a quick one. This is Mark 4:19. It says, "And the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches and the lust of other things entering in and choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful." So, like I was saying, when you put all your effort into this world, it's only going to choke you from not getting into, like, not waking up to know the truth, man, and know Yahweh Shemi Shai. You know, it just stirs you away. This world stirs you away from Yahweh Shemi Shai. Yahweh Shemi Shai.
That's right.
You know?
That's why we get warning in Micah 2:10 that you must get out of her, meaning separate your mind from the system, because when you're connected to the system, you know, you get lost. You get lost in Esau's witchcraft. You get lost in Esau's mind control, because all of this is mind control, man. He uses his fiat currency to control people's mind. You know, so people start worshiping, you know, the fiat currency.
Medium.
Yeah.
Well, the form of predictive programming, right? It shows in movies, like a thing called Lifestyle of Rich and Famous.
Yeah.
And have
I remember that. Yeah.
You know, caviar and champagne dreams and whatever. You know. Yeah. So American if you're not rooted, right? If you're not rooted near this water, this truth, right? Look at Alizé, right? Yep. He put our Pegasus.
Yeah, Pegasus.
You know, he basically canceled out doing the Lord's work and put himself first, and the Lord has exposed him to be like a full-fledged homo, man. Like that's you know, there's no other way to put it. You can't say it's freaky or whatever. You know, it's a homo.
Nasty work, man. Nasty work.
Wow.
Okay, so you got something? Go ahead.
Isaiah 47:5. It says, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. Right? So pretty much that's just saying, you know, go into confusion, right? Because right now there's a huge amount of confusion sweeping the land of Babylon the Great, because they're actually wondering, are we going to survive? You know, is my money going to get wiped out? What's going to happen? Right? It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. It says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. So this punishment that's coming for them, it's their lot, right? Because they got the Lord's apple in their hand, the Lord's apple in their hands, and they did them dirty, right? They actually treat them worse than how everybody else treat them. So what's coming to Babylon the Great, aka America, it's judgment for really what they did to the large people. Right?
Yep, she was found drunk with the blood of the saints.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
and you guys are going into about that American dollar. When you watch the movies in the 80s and 90s with the American dollar, they show you, they zoom in, American, okay, yeah. Real quick, this is Genesis 26:12. It says, then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year 100-fold. And the Lord Yahweh blessed him. And the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and great store of servants, and the Philistines envied him. Right? And in the NLT, it'll say pretty much rich. That's what great means. Or a synonym of great is rich, obviously.
Con.
Yeah. And that goes into, like also like you're saying, the movies influence in people's minds. Like when you had that Iron Curtain go down in the Soviet Union, and then people can watch some movies that America brought out, it totally changed their mind. So think about Moab, Ishmael, they're all looking at it. And up until very recent, America was always that pinnacle, that place to come to. But now it's like, like when you watch Rush Hour 3, and they get in and they go to France, and they get in the taxi cabs, the cabbie, the guy's like, American. They're like, yeah, get out. They're like, why? What's going on? He's like, you guys are the worst people, this and that, da. So now it's that, that side eye, like Kazak always says, that side eye that all these nations are giving America pretty much.
God. That's right. That's right.
Like, can I read this from this article, from this book? Revelation 18.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a book called Babylon. On page 23, it reads, was there ever a nation as rich and powerful as America? American companies dominate the world, according to the riches on Revelation 18. American culture dominates the world. American politics dominate the world. American inventions dominate the world, technology. So when America falls, the world will mourn. And it says, woe for the great city. On page 26, it reads, Yahweh, this is God, Yahweh will make sure get destroyed either with nuclear missiles or an invading army or earthquake or a natural disaster. So pretty much whoever wrote this book, probably going to the apostles, watching the apostles, because this came out in 2020. So this, everybody's they know Americans Babylon.
That's right. That's right.
Well, the Most said he'll pour his spirit in all flesh, right? And the spirit is basically the spirit of prophecy via the word. So this water has been poured out on all nations, man. So they're hearing it. Probably won't give us credit for it, because even our own people won't give us credit for it, which is okay. We're not here for the credit or to be liked by anybody but Yahweh and Shai.
That's right.
But the prophecy has to come out, man.
That's right.
Starting with us, our apostles and their teachers on down.
That's right. Okay, so I'll play a little bit of this. Okay.
It's a unit of account. It's got everything you want out of money, but it doesn't go away, and it can't be increased. That is what makes gold the most beautiful money of all. What more can you ask out of money?
It keeps governments under control. You can maintain a solvent system. Governments don't like gold at present because they're getting away with the fiat currencies, and they'll do everything they can to discredit it as an asset class. I mean, my goodness, gold has outperformed the Dow Jones Industrial Average in each of the last 7 years.
We lost heaven. It's a big made-up story.
One of the biggest make-believe stories ever is called quantitative easing. which sounds complex, but it's really just a smoke and mirrors term for currency creation. QE started with the banking bailouts back in 2009. This currency was created out of thin air and then given to the banks, who paid themselves record bonuses in reward for crashing the world economy. This is a global phenomenon, but all you have to remember for now is that whether it's QE bailouts or stimulus programs, these are all just voodoo, hocus-pocus terms for increased currency creation. I believe gold and silver will reassert themselves as money, and when they do, there just isn't enough, and their purchasing power is going to go up.
I'm looking for a specific point. Okay, right here. Just going into a little bit more about these nations partaking in the practices, in the financial practices that America does as well.
In the past several years, I've spoken in many countries about the crisis that's coming, and a lot of people think that they're going to be okay in their country, that it's only going to happen to the United States or maybe the United States in Europe.
Right.
But what they don't realize is that this is a global phenomenon. I got to show you something here. This is base currency in the United States. This is the number of paper dollars that exist, basically. It took 200 years to go from no dollars in existence to 825 billion.
In 2 years, they had no dollars in existence, and then 825 billion.
And then we had the bailouts, and then we had QE1, quantitative easing 1, then QE2, and then we had QE3, and then QE4, and then soon we're going to have QE57 and QE382.
And the reason why that's a problem, because they don't have the gold to back that up. That's why we keep telling you, starting with the apostles and the elders on down, this place is done. It's finished. It's finished, man. It is finished. How are you going to go from $0 in existence? That's a good economy. You have no currency flowing in existence. Everything's balanced. Your checks balance out. To at the end of 2 years, you have $825 billion of currency flowing in one country, and you don't even have damn near half of the gold to back that up.
Good.
What do you think is the end outcome of a country like that? It's finished.
A bunch of IOUs, you know.
Exactly.
Here's an IOU.
Exactly. And that's why we're immensely blessed. And the attitude definitely is gratitude, like Malachi always coined that, because the Lord has given us true riches. We store our riches up in heaven, man.
That's right.
Our mind is not plugged in, all right. And those of you that believe as well, your minds are not plugged into this world and the money, because money runs this world. If you want to do anything of any substance in this society or take care of your family, you got to focus on money.
Yep.
But
Cash rules everything around me.
Exactly.
Money.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And then these stupid people, man, they don't know about the Federal Reserve, you know, that whole history, you know, and how it, you know, pretty much each dollar is like 3 cents to print,
right?
But then they charge America an interest on each dollar, you know, and then, you know, like it ends up, like you said, it's one big bubble. They call it a debt ceiling. You know, and it's about to explode, man.
That's right.
Can I back you up? What you're just saying. This is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. It says, "Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, who give us richly all things to enjoy, that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that may lay hold on eternal life." That's it. Right?
Yep.
Now,
Come.
James 5:1. And it reads, "Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your makers that should come upon you."
That's right.
Verse 2, "Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are more even." Like the elder post today article from the Bay is going bankrupt, and I think the manager and CEOs, is getting $3 million.
Yeah,
Why?
certain key
Right.
workers and managers.
Meanwhile, the people that are working, they don't get some package, nothing. It says verse 3, you gold and silver is conquered, and the wrath of them to be witnessed against you. And you should eat your flesh as if were fire. You have heaped treasures together for the last days.
That's right. You've heaped treasures together. So all the gold, because don't get it twisted, the international bankers, they know how important gold is. That's why they want to keep it to themselves. But like the brothers reading, they've heaped up treasures onto the last days so that it will be transferred onto the true rulers, which are the elect of the nation of Israel.
Yep. Hey, like Slacky, real quick, like during the gold rush in the West, right? The California gold rush. Like you had estimations of about like 80 million back in 1850s, which is about like it's probably in the trillions. It's around like 2 trillion, they say. So majority of that gold, you had Edomites that went and tried to find gold and get little pieces and nuggets, but the majority of that went to the bankers. They didn't go to the U.S. government.
That's right.
And that's just one little example. There's many other examples of just resources that Esau has.
Right. Yeah.
Let me read 4 and 5. Verse 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have raped down your fields, which is of you, came back by cry, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord Yahweh Sabaoth. Here's the point. Verse 5. You have lived in pleasure on the earth. The bank, the elites.
Yeah.
Being wanton, you have nourished your heart as in a day of slaughter.
That's right. Well, hey, this guy just brought out how in 2008, when the housing crisis happened, all these big bankers, what they did is they bailed America out by quantitative easing, printing more money, but they gave themselves big bonus checks for so-called saving the economy.
Yep. They remember years ago they had a thing called bailouts.
Yeah,
they used to call them bailouts, and you're like, "What's a bailout?"
Right. Yeah.
And that's these bankers, the central bankers, they allegedly bail out. But again, it's all a big game.
It's all big.
You people, you're just stock, man. That's how you are. Livestock.
That's right. Okay, so we'll continue on here.
And then we had QE3, and then QE4, and then soon we're going to have QE57 and QE382. And it isn't just here. This is what the Canadian currency supply looks like. This is Australia.
You see?
South Africa. Russia. Now,
and when you pause this and you look at the dates, it's going back to 1960s. They had nothing, and then when you get into like the 2000s, it goes skyrockets from 0 to 600 billion in a matter of like 5 years. So Russia, Canada, they've all committed fornication with the whore, all of them.
Yep. This starts out in just the year 2001, and this is like 18 times more currency in existence in a little over a decade. Here's Singapore, same story. Look at that, since the crisis, just bam. India, China, every government on the planet is doing this insane deficit spending and expanding their currency supplies, doing bailouts, and history shows that there is no example of this turning out well.
It is sometimes amazing that we haven't experienced more inflation than we have. If they keep expanding the money supply so vastly, why aren't our prices growing faster than they really are? And the answer is that a good chunk of the money that the Fed created has been shipped overseas. I remember early in my research, I heard this expression that the Americans have exported their inflation.
So what he's about to go into as well is basically what we just played the video of Greece, what Greece did, exporting their inflation because of war, right? So listen to what he's saying.
What is that? How can you export your inflation? Put it in a box and send it. What do you do? Well, now I understand. You export your inflation by simply sending all these dollars that you created to these other countries, and then they send you their refrigerators and their cars and whatever, their TV sets. So you get hardware, and they get little pieces of.
Right.
Magic.
Hence, magic,
Wave
bro.
that
Hence,
one.
hence Revelation 18. That's right.
Conniving.
That's right.
Conniving.
You saw said,
That's
watch
right.
this.
Hence,
Yeah.
yeah, watch this.
Alakazam.
He has the wizard helping him.
Hence Revelation 18. Because again, send out all these dollars, but America gets all these refrigerators, cars, consuming. So these nations, they think they're making money because they're getting fiat currency for all the hardware goods they're giving away. Right? But that fiat currency is based off of nothing. So the nations have drunk of the wine of Babylon and they are mad, which means they're angry, but they're also bugging out. They're bugging out, man.
And the global inflation increases that way. So it's a global bubble. Right. I just quickly typed in how US exports inflation, and it just says the US exports inflation through a strong dollar, making US exports more expensive for foreign buyers, potentially leading to higher prices for imports in other countries and contributing to global inflation. Right? So it when that bubble bursts, man.
God.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I have
Jack the price up.
I have that precept, the one that you just quoted as well. Jeremiah 15:38. The drought is upon our waters. Right? Which is
go ahead. Read it quick.
A drought is upon our waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
So
but now I understand.
A drought could be going to the cash flow, right? Because water.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the bank, the river bank.
Con.
That's right. That's right.
You export your inflation by simply sending all these dollars that you created to these other countries, and then they send you their refrigerators and their cars and whatever, their TV sets. So you get hardware, and they get little pieces of paper. It's a great deal for the American people for a while. Sooner or later, all of those pigeons come home to roost.
That's right.
When the time comes, looks like it's now coming, and the rest of the world is saying, we don't want to play this game anymore. Uncle Sam's dollars are just becoming worthless. There are too many of them.
Right. The nations are mad. Right? Kazak, you quoted, all they that are in confederate with thee have laid a wound on it. They're tired. They're tired of this bitch. Excuse my French, but they're tired of this whore, America.
We've got to find something else other than American dollars. Then those dollars start to come back to America. People, we don't want them anymore. What do we do with them? Once this revs up and we've got this little trickle of money coming back that we previously exported, once it becomes a flood and it starts to rush back, now we are getting our former exported inflation brought back to us. And then we'll see the quantity of money inside the United States grow much more rapidly, even than the Federal Reserve can create it, because we're getting a previous money back. And that's when we will really see the tanking of the US dollar in terms of what it will buy.
During the second round of quantitative.
Yep.
So like the scriptures are 1,000%.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
It says the Babylon, the horror. It's like when you have a girl, or this bitch is getting with everybody else, you don't want to kill her. The same way they feel about America. You don't want to deal with that. And then, so yeah, the scriptures are 1,000% on point, man. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. That's right. I got this here. Ezekiel 28:1, as it says, a message for Tyre's king, right? This is spiritually talking about Babylon. And the king of America, I said Babylon, but spiritually talking about America. The king of America, the kings of America are the bankers, okay? And they're really, they rule the earth. They rule the world. Under the power of the Most High Yahweh on the left-hand side, okay? I got to mention that.
That's right.
So Ezekiel 28:1, it says in NLT, this is the message then this message came to me from the Lord Yahweh, Son of man, give the prince of Tyre this message from the sovereign Lord Yahweh. In your great pride, you claim I am a God. I sit on a divine throne in the heart of the sea, right, which represents the people. but you are only a man and not a god. Though you boast that you are a god. And this is really going to the bankers, okay? Verse 3, it's prophetic. This happened to the king of
because
Tyre.
back then, this is going into Tyrus, which is the Phoenicians, the Canaanites, and
Exactly.
the Hamites, and that was Tyrus was a port city. It's very rich.
Exactly.
Right. These were maritime traders, so they had pride as well. But like you said, when you read down it's going into Esau.
Con. Verse 3, it says, you regarded yourself as wiser than Daniel and think no secret is hidden from you. With your wisdom and understanding, you have immense great wealth.
Amassed. Gathered.
Amassed, yes. The water. You have amassed great wealth, gold and silver for your treasuries. And remember, they collected after the First World War and the Second World War, they collected 2/3 of the world's gold reserve. Okay.
Yep. They made you people turn in your gold by order of law.
That's right.
You had to turn it in. You get your dollar back or whatever amount. But no more gold.
That's right. And then even as well, and even as well as with that blessing that was given to Esau, his blessing was a sword.
That's right.
These guys, America, turned their factories into factories that made weapons for these countries while they were going through their war.
Yeah. He's that red horse, right? Peace was taken from the earth.
That's right.
That was his job.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
And then remember, you guys are reading about the fatness or something like that, the rich men and James. That's the blessing of Esau. The fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven.
That's right.
Right. So that was a blessing to gather these riches and gather all this.
That's right. Con.
And also, he was let out in Revelation to deceive the whole earth for a short season. So the deception is this, man. I'll give you some paper for your
hardware, for your real goods.
Software
with the hardware.
And then he has people committing sin for that little note too. He has people changing their whole life, their morals, just bugged
murdering.
out. You know,
change your bodies, everything.
Selling himself. Yeah.
That's true. It's true. Damn. Verse 5, it says, yes, your wisdom has made you very rich.
Which Salaki, brother, that's why they said the American bill, like if you looked under it on a microscope, there'd be like, it's so dirty, like just how nasty that's the spirit of it too. Like it's a dirty bill. That's nasty. Like to actually touch money because it's been around. You know what I mean? People do drugs off it. They do all kinds of stuff. You know, and it just gets passed around. That's the spirit because it's a dirty, an instrument, if you will.
That's right.
Abominations.
It's a whore.
It's a whore.
Did the PD have a group called them Dirty Money?
That's right. That's right. And Esau's funny because what he does is, remember during the lockdowns, he mentioned, it's better, like you can get contaminated by the transferring of money. Remember that? It was like if you touch bills, whatever.
Yeah, it can get you.
Yeah. It can get you, exactly. That's funny, man. Okay, so verse 5, it says, yes, your wisdom has made you very rich, and your riches have made you very proud. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord Yahweh says, because you think you are wise, you are as wise as a god. It says, I will now bring against you a foreign army. Okay, that army is going to be Russia. Okay. Pursuant to Ezekiel. The Medes is pursuant to Ezekiel 38. Okay. It says, the terror of the nations, they will draw their swords against your marvelous wisdom. Because remember, Russia was on that list, all right, in terms of quantitative easing. So these nations are going to be like, you know what? Just like France, okay? France, when he was bringing that out during the war, France caught on to the fact that, yo, how are you giving us more currency than the gold we've given you? You guys are scheming us. So they asked for what? Their gold back. Hence why Nixon went on. He basically stopped the gold standard in the 70s. So these nations, the Lord's going to put a spirit on these nations to catch wind of what America is doing, and it's going to lead to Third World War.
That's right. The 10 horns shooting, fire.
That's right.
The Great Horde.
Con.
But they don't forget this stuff. It's gonna be recalled.
That's right.
And part of that is Ezekiel 38 about the Most High is gonna put the hooks into God and Magog's jaw.
Yeah. That's right. It says they will draw their swords against your marvelous wisdom and defile your splendor. They will bring you down to the pit, and you will die in the heart of the sea, pierced with many wounds. And that goes into what? Missiles, ultimately. Will you then boast, I am a god, to those who kill you? Yeah, because them Russians are going to have a different spirit on them. They're not going to give a shit.
Yeah, they're not going to regard for silver or gold in that day. Right?
Con. That's right. To them, you will be no god, but merely a man.
Hey, you know what just came to me? Remember when Trump was sitting with that man and he says, your time is coming next?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Con.
Because remember, he feels like a god, right? He's sitting up like he's big and bad, right? Big and bold. That
Emperor
man had
Trump.
to humble him and tell him,
Lewinsky,
your time is next. Your time is coming.
Yeah. That's also Esau's house is being divided. Verse 10, it says,
hey, brother, can I read this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this is going into the gold you're talking about. This is Wikipedia, gold repatriation. And it says gold repatriation refers to plans of various governments to bring home their gold stored outside the home country. Many nations use foreign vaults for safekeeping of part of their gold reserves. It says in 2014 there was a movement by some European states to return gold stored abroad back to the owner country. Right? And then it said Venezuela had 211 tons of its 365 tons of gold reserves in American, European, and Canadian banks.
Wow.
That's a lot. It says in January 2012, however, Venezuela completed the move of 160 tons of gold bars valued at about $9 billion back home. The operation was ordered by President Hugo Chavez, and they got rid of him. If you remember that guy, he was tired of the Russians. There were times where Russian warships would be on the coast of Venezuela, and America's like, "What the fuck's going on?" Venezuela is a very rich country of oil as well. It's I think the second most richest oil country. So it's a very serious place. And they got rid of him. So what happens to that gold after? Who the hell knows?
Right.
But just going into what you're saying, like all these things is fuel, for the 10 horns, because it just shows you all these countries: Belgium, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
That was it.
Con. Verse 10, it says Ezekiel 28 and 10.
And all the money, Slacky, all the gold was stored in the New York vaults in the Federal Reserve Bank in New York.
Well, you already know who has their hands on that. Ezekiel 28 and 10, it says, you will die like an outcast at the hands of foreigners. I, the sovereign Lord, Yahweh, have spoken.
That's right.
So that's the future, man. That's the future for the whore and all her whoredoms, with the nations. That's it for me, man. Actually, you know what? Let me get this last precept for myself. This is Revelation 18. because we can we can go, but we don't. I don't want to make this too long because there's so much.
Yeah, this is a live topic as we're talking about it. It's happening, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, bro.
Yeah,
you know, like this wasn't happening 10 years ago.
Con.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Revelation 18 and 1. I'm actually gonna get this in the King James instead of the NLT. It says here, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory, Yahweh, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, right? And there's many aspects to that fornication. We're just dealing right now with the financial aspect. We can get into the religion aspect, the food aspect, and so on and so forth. It says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, right? And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. You see, right? They gave all their goods and they kept dollars, thinking that they would be rich because the idea was that the American dollar would back up all the other currencies of the world because the American dollar is backed by gold. But there's no gold in America. Hence why Elon is saying, let's go open up the Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on in there. He knows what's going on in there. There's nothing in there.
He's slick.
But he wants you, these Edomites want you people to go crazy so they can put in their order. Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the power and Yahweh, Bashim Shai, has remembered her iniquities. Reward. Yeah, go ahead, Ak.
I was gonna say this is why you got all these countries selling their U.S. bonds. Canada sold, I think, $300 billion worth of U.S. bonds, and I think China did the same thing because that's where they make their money from. So these bonds, they're not useful anymore. Not useful anymore. They have lost their value. So these nations are mad that they lost money holding on to those bonds.
Con. Yep. Verse 6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, right? And that spirit is going to be upon not just the elect, but it's also going to be upon these nations, especially Russia. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much? And that's why a lot of missiles, I think it's 200,000,
200 million.
200 million. 200 million. I get it. 200 million, eh?
Yeah.
Con. Wow. Damn. Verse 7, it says,
because it's not the missile. Yeah. It's not the missile, right? The missile carries the warhead. When the warhead separates, it's a bunch of them that fly out, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, come. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit as a queen. This is why I read the precept about Tyrus, because he considered himself a god, individual of the Most High, an individual outside of the Most High. Right? I sit as a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. MAGA, right? Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh, Bashim Shah, who judges her. 2 more verses, and it says, "And the kings of the earth," verse 9, "and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and live deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." So great destruction is coming upon Babylon, which is America, spiritually America, and spiritually Egypt, based upon fornication. And we're just dealing with the financial aspect, but fornication in all aspects.
Yep, deceiving the nations, you know, destroying the nations, destroying the food supplies, just messing people's minds up.
Poison,
you know, like you got Dubai that wants to be so righteous, but that's the place these bitches go, you know, to do their, you know, nastiness. You know, and there's drugs there and all kinds of shit. It's just behind closed doors. But that place has been bought out because there was a time when they didn't sell out until a certain sheik sold out. You know, and you know the rest is history. But this place is going to be blamed for a lot of things, man. America's going to be blamed for a lot of things.
That's right.
You know, everybody's going to hate her.
That's right. That's right.
The same thing you said, Elder, in Rush Hour. He said, like your kind, we don't like your kind.
Yeah.
What do you mean, my kind? Like, yeah, you Americans. Sentiment for everyone across the world, because they know that America is the one who is funding the war in Israel, who's attacking the entire Middle East. They attack Africa, stole all their resources. Like people know what's going on right now. People, their eyes are open. They're seeing it.
Yeah, knowledge should be increased. You know, they're finding out, oh, you guys put crack in your inner cities. You guys did a bunch of psyops on your citizens. You had MK Ultra. You know, you experimented with LSD and all these different psyops, man. You know, you guys hate your own citizens, so you know.
Yeah, beautiful, man. So, man, there's so much more we can go into, but we'll cut it off here. That's it for me. I don't know if brothers have any lasting precepts or statements they want to make before we close up.
Can I read that precept for you about in Revelation 9? In regards to
go ahead.
This, Revelation 9 and 16, it says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. See? And verse 17, and thus I saw the horses in the vision. Where there's no vision, the people perish, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Hey, that's what's coming up to America. And them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and jacinth, brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, in regards to the warheads, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. That's it.
Yep.
Real quick.
All pervert, all metaphorical for the ICBM missiles. Yeah.
This is Revelation 6 and 4 in the NLT. Then another horse appeared, a red one. Its rider was given a mighty sword and the authority to take peace from the earth. And there was war and slaughter everywhere. I see a bloody man Esau.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You're gonna pay for that too. Yeah, that's right.
Let me get one last script.
Con.
This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not.
Man, it shows you how vast this topic is. I'm even thinking in my mind, none of us got the debt precept, you know, covered in debt.
Yeah.
But it shows you how do your research, do your homework. We can't do it all for you because there's so much precepts that expose this devil in terms of his fornication, man.
And we're living in a time where, look, America was at the time it was sitting on the beast, which is NATO. NATO was backing America. NATO was a military operation. That's a military organization. So everyone was looking like, yo, how can we defeat these people, you know, like certain people, they know, they call them the great Satan. They know that they're the enemy of the earth, but they can't do shit. But now NATO is breaking up. Part iron, part clay.
Right.
Everything is breaking apart, man. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Gone. Beautiful, man.
Quick one for
you.
Quick one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ezekiel 7. This one's quick one. Ezekiel 7:19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed.
Yep.
Their
Beautiful.
silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity.
That's right. Wow. Silver and gold.
Damn, yeah, that's good. Hey, it's a stumbling block of their iniquity because you're investing in gold. The stumbling block of your iniquity is that you worship gold like it's a god. And when the Most High comes down with his judgment, hey, you know what? You know, the Most High is funny, man. Just real quick. Egypt. So I'm just, paraphrasing. The Most High is a funny man. So
borrow from them.
The Nile River, right? Nile River, Egypt. That was like its bread and basket. It overflowed from the Mediterranean, and they would have a lot of crops. It turns into blood. All the fishes die, but what jumps out of the water? Frogs. The Egyptians had a frog god. So the Most High is clowning the Egyptians. Oh, okay, you want to believe in a frog god? I'm gonna give you frogs to deal every second of the day. And then what came after was the beetles, the flies, and all that kind of stuff, the insects. And the Egyptian gods had a beetle god. So the Most High was His Most High was clowning them because, like what you read, they trust in those riches. Okay, you want to trust in gold and silver in the day when I'm gonna bring judgment. We'll see how that works out for you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna judge you.
You know what's funny, brother? It's like they don't even trust in the gold and silver. A lot of people, they trust in digital assets, i.e. crypto. They call it digital assets, bro. So that means like it can be deleted. It can be, like it can get lost. You forget your password or whatever the case, can get hacked. Right?
Imaginary numbers.
No, go ahead.
No, those are imaginary numbers.
Yeah, zeros and ones.
$30,000 in traffic over there, 50 like.
Yeah. They call Bitcoin the new gold, pretty much, and all this crap, like yellow. Like these people are bugged up, man.
Yeah, con.
Never go. Wow.
Digital gold. Man. They call it digital gold.
Digital gold.
Yeah, digital gold. Beautiful, man. So we'll close up. Lord willing, this was edifying to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. When you read Revelation 17, hopefully you have more insight, in how that plays out. Again, there's many factors. We're just dealing with the financial aspect of it. But we're going to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us this word in truth and sincerity. And peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, starting with 144,000 that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. And the rest of you that sincerely believe as well, peace and mercy to you and your household. All right, Abba Ball, Kwame Shala, and then Shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shalom to the hopeful elect.